Good morning, traders. Today is the 13th of September. This is Brad Matheny. I got up a little late today. Happy Friday to everybody. What a big, beautiful move we saw here in the markets. Love all the compliments and comments I've been getting. Everyone, thank you very much for the wonderful emails. I can't tell you how proud I am to be able to deliver this type of research to you. I predicted that markets would be very tight, rolling in a sideways channel here. I will agree that I missed this big crush pattern breakaway downward that took place. But overall, the system has been very solid. The SPY cycle patterns, we predicted a downward move here, predicted a slightly upward move here, which was counter trend, a rotational pattern here, a rally bar here, a rally bar here. This was a breakaway inside breakaway, and this was a breakaway pattern. And today we're looking at a rally pattern, which may end up moving the markets up into this 561, 562 area. So taking a look at the SPY cycle patterns here, come over here, grab my SPY cycle pattern image. Oops, wrong one. Where did I save it? Well, we'll have to just go based on, I put it right here. Oh, I'm at the bottom of the list. There we go. Today's rally pattern right here is in an accumulation phase with bearish trending, explosive price action in a carryover mode. We're looking at this to carry into a lot of momentum into today from yesterday. And again, I'm running a little late today, so I'm going to try to keep this fairly short. We are moving into a gap potential or gap reversal on Monday, and then a top and then a gap potential, and then a top resistance, and then a breaking up or down. So understand that if we get a peak and we do get that gap reversal on Monday, we're going to be looking at potentially a downward pattern followed by a topping pattern, followed by a gap potential, which I would just say that we could get in either direction. So we could get kind of a downward move here or an upward move. I would think that we would be topping. So in a gap potential, we could get some kind of a rotation, and I will readjust this. There's our topping pattern. Here's our little gapping move. I'll have to drag that down 1 second. Spread that out. Spread that out. Drag this down. This is one of the issues where you have a lot of things drawn on your chart. So we could get kind of a gapping move here. And then we have the topping pattern again, which would be a moderate peaking pattern like this. And then we have the breaking downward. So the breaking downward potentially like this. So now the issue here, and it's up or down. So understand that we could have an up move or a down move, kind of like this. So understand that we are looking at a very mixed set of topping pattern. We are looking at this gapping pattern here being kind of a mixed directional trend. We're looking at a series of topping patterns here and here. So as I see this, as I mentioned to you earlier, getting above this level right here, 565, 566 on the SPY is critical. Now we're coming up on Friday here. This is our Friday topping pattern. We'll drag this, what should have been right up here. Okay, that's our rally phase here. That's the predictions I originally made. Then I shifted them down after this low because like I said, in the future, making these predictions, I can kind of guess within a range what is going to likely happen based on these patterns. But remember, I predicted this 2 weeks out from way back over here, come back over here. So we don't even have it here. But 2 weeks ago, back at the end of August, near the 26th, 27th, I made these predictions based on these patterns, what was likely to happen. And I indicated that we would get gap up higher, consolidation, breakaway, rally. And that was my original trending right here. I predicted this sideways trending, this rolling, this was a crush pattern. I predicted this entire move here, but it rolled downward very quickly. And then I predicted this upward trend 2 weeks before it happened, telling everyone that this would be a very tough week to trade. And then this would be the week we want to trade. And I told everyone that we want to get into the markets roughly around the 9th or 10th in preparation for a very strong rally. And you can go back and watch the videos. It's very clear that I made this indication. The 9th or the 10th was a very strong rally phase to the upside. Now we're moving into the last rally phase here. Then I think we move into some very wild volatility rolling into that sideways peaking pattern. In reality, right here, this area right here is where I think we start really seeing the top. And you'll see back over here on my chart, you'll see that I believe we're going to run into a very strong topping pattern right here and roll into a downward trend that's going to send us down into this area. Okay, eventually lower, maybe potentially lower, going forward. So we've got a lot of real opportunity here, but we're getting very close to a very volatile top. Today should be a pretty solid rally, but prepare for next week. It's going to be very, very volatile. I think we could see some big rotation, certainly a lot of gapping trending. Notice what we have here: gap reversal, top, gap potential, top, breaking up or down. Then we have gap breakaway, carryover, crush, gap potential. A lot of gapping price action, which is indicative of very strong price volatility. So we could get a lot of volatility around this area, and we could still move to all-time highs here, guys. We could still, in this flagging formation, continue to move up into this area, reach new all-time highs, and then roll. That is another possibility that, a lot of my followers are asking. All-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs. Yes, it could happen. It could be that we see a move up to new all-time highs, then a stalling, then a rollover to the downside. There's nothing stopping us in this flagging pattern from taking out new highs, this excess phase peak pattern to take out new highs. Ideally, it will likely break down before we get up to this high level, right over in this area. And that could be today. We could be reaching a peak today and then rolling downward next week. But again, if this excess phase peak pattern fails, which would fail this pattern, the blue one and the dark green one back over here, then we reach new highs. That means it's an end of an excess phase peak pattern. They no longer are valid. We move into new all-time highs, and we would look for a new excess phase peak pattern or some other type of pattern to set up. Okay, so today's a good solid rally day. The S&P is already up a little under 0.2, 0.2%, up at 560. We'll see how it plays out. Let's go take a look at gold. Last I saw it yesterday, nice big rally. Yeah, look at that, 25.98. Okay, so there's my 25.93. Whoops. There's my 25.93 number. So now at this point, ladies and gentlemen, that 25.93 level has been reached, and we've exceeded it. I think that gold is going to run into a very solid topping resistance area. As I told you guys yesterday, if you're long, and I got a lot of messages from gold traders yesterday and the day before, what do I think? What do I think? And remember, I'm trying to tell you honestly what I think is I think that we're going to run out of steam. I think that gold is going to run out of steam. up in this 25.90 area. To be honest with you, I was really reluctant to think that it would push this high at this time. I knew it was going to try to move higher, but I thought that because we would be rolling through this topping pattern, I thought, as you can see, that we would roll up to about 25.80, somewhere in that area, and then roll downward. You can see all the drawing that I did here, thinking that we were going to roll downward up above 25.80. In fact, I kept telling everyone anything above 25.65, 25.75, 25.85 is a gift. Just take it, book it, call it good, and wait for the next trend. Given where we're at, guys, up here, and we literally, let's check the highs, see if we've gotten. Yes, 2601. Big psychological level. We've been above 2600. Huge psychological level. We're going to see a lot of resistance in gold up in this area. Now, we do have a potential for a bit more of a rally. It's going to depend on what actually happens with the dollar today. But I would not be surprised to see this stall right out over here. Maybe 2602, 2603, maybe 2610. The next level would be 2603, which we had just reached. Remember, back here, 2601, we're $2 off. And then we have 2613. These levels basically go up by about 10 to 12, stepping up through 2665, I think it was. So be aware that, we're at 2601. The next resistance level would be 2603, and then 2616, roughly 15. So you got to be aware that we have a fairly narrow objective here. You're going to be maybe up in the 2610, 2615 area before we find resistance and try to roll back down, in my opinion. Okay, let's come back over here. Let's go to the QQQ. Big move again. Today is our rally day based on the SPY cycle patterns. Looking at a move up here into 79, 81, maybe right up into this area where I've drawn this blue line. It would be a solid upward move of about, let's see where we're at, pre-market 73. Pre-market, we're here. Be about a 1.5% move, maybe a little more. But remember, you're looking for topping in this area. We're looking for a rollover. So you can see the difference between the NASDAQ and the SPY. NASDAQ has set up these series of lower highs across here and here, and now maybe here. So ideally, guys, we're looking at a weakening downward trend right now. And that's what we're seeing in the NASDAQ compared to the SPY. Now, the SPY could push up into these upper channels, and maybe the NASDAQ could, or the QQQs could as well. But I'm holding right now to my flagging rotation pattern until we get above these highs. So really, until it proves to me that it can try to move above this level, I'm expecting it to roll downward, which is the most logical outcome for this type of move. It looks like I have a little dot over here. Get rid of it. Okay, so again, coming into Friday, we got a rally day. Expect the Qs to end up somewhere in the 480, 481 area, maybe. Maybe if we get a big rally up into 483, 484, but really probably 478 to 481 is the ending price today. And then lastly, we go to Bitcoin, 57,900, down a couple of points here. If the markets really rally, meaning the SPY and the QQQ, Bitcoin is struggling to really find support. And as you can see here, we're getting into this kind of a downward shape, downward cycle pattern, retesting these lows. I still believe as a hedge asset that Bitcoin can and wants to attempt to move higher. But I will tell you that, we keep getting, and it's almost perfect. In fact, let me show this to you. So I'll invert this. Okay, so this is upside down. Okay, and I want you to see here, we come into a scenario here, make this rally up into a peaking pattern, come back down, move into a flagging pattern, and we take out new highs. Okay, great. You know what that is? That's a new high set up in the actual structure of things. Then we get into a peak pattern here. We roll back down, we flag into a weaker low. Okay, what this is now is a excess phase peak pattern that is flagged into a weaker low. We've broken that flag. What should happen at this point is we should see this rally into and try to break down below this level, setting up some support, and then eventually moving the opposite direction. This level here would become our critical support level to watch as this trend moves. So now, given where we're at, like I said, the excess phase peak patterns play out over and over again. So I want you to be aware that what we're seeing here is an excess phase peak pattern that extended downward. Then we come into this pullback mode from this high, which is an actual low, roll into this. We get our flagging formation. We reach our flag. We break our flag. Now at this point, we should get this move either down to this area here or a new level here, which will be slightly outside, I believe, this level, which we already have drawn. So that's this level right here. So now this is inverted, and this gives you an idea that there are excess phase peak patterns to the downside as well. You reach a new low, you get a pullback, you start flagging. We reached a secondary attempted low here, a deeper low. So this sets up a new flagging formation. This is our new flagging formation right here. Change the color a little bit, light blue to light blue. And now this flagging formation has failed, has broken, has reassumed trend. At this point, we are looking for this flagging formation to rally up right here, rally higher, and attempt to take out this level. That is the next stage of the excess phase peak pattern. Unless it creates a new pattern, does something different, ideally, this failure is either going to do one of two things, okay? It is either going to roll downward here and try to take out a new low, or it's going to roll upward here and try to take out this high. That is exactly what the excess phase peak pattern has to do at this point. It is either going to fail to move back, which is through this contraction mode. This is bearish contraction, meaning a pullback. It flagged out. It's either going to run back up to this level and try to break this level, or it's going to run down to this level and try to break it here. So for Bitcoin, I am optimistic that this flagging pattern is playing out as long as we stay comfortably above this 5,300, 57,000, sorry, 53,000. 57,000 really is the number I've been looking at, but you can see the patterns playing out. So understand that we've got a really good opportunity here, as long as the whole bottom doesn't fall out here, of a rally phase up into the 64, 65,000 area, then potentially up even higher. But the opposite side of the trend, as we watch this breakdown back into 54,000 and try to break below this level. And if this is the case, then we are going to set up another excess phase peak pattern, which in this case would be a trough. And what we would do here is we would be looking at another pullback, another flag, and then potentially a move higher. So what would happen is we would get these peaking patterns either do one of two things. Let me make this green. They either reconfirm the trend by breaking this level or this level, to the downside, or they confirm an opposite reversal by breaking that level. So you have, in every instance, you have always these three levels to watch as the early access phase peak takes place. And again, I will show them to you here. So here's our flagging formation here. Remember, here's our flag, right? There's our low. Here's our flag coming up, and then here's our new low. This is non-inverted, so you can see that we took out this low and we established a new low, so that changed everything. Now we're getting the same inverted type of formation. Here's our flag. It didn't take out this low here, so now we're looking for this flag to revert back to the upside, trying to take out this high. So we still have this low, we still have this low, and now we're looking for this high up here on an inverted formation. Remember, this whole flag pattern is upside down. Okay, it really is. It's upside down. Normally we'd hit a peak, we'd pull back and we'd flag this way. Now we hit a low, we pull back and we flag this way. So it's totally upside down. But if you can see it, in fact, I did a training video on it. If you can see it, this happens in price probably 90% of the time on price charts. You're looking at this type of a pattern. So ideally right now we need to see Bitcoin really rally, probably take out the 60, 62,000 area. That would confirm this attempt to move up to this area, 65,300. Otherwise, if it rolls down into this 53,000 area, then we could very likely break down to new lows, setting up a new excess phase peak pattern. Okay, guys, got off to a late start this morning. I'm going to let this go. We'll see what happens. And like I said, pay attention. Today should be a fairly solid rally day in the SPY and the QQQ, as well as potentially gold. Okay, talk to you later.